Hey everybody, Brenton here with IDUB Hockey, here with Nick, CCM's product manager of Protective, here to walk you through the 2025 JetSpeed FT8 Pro glove line. Nick, how would you describe the fit profile, how it feels on the hand, and the style of player the JetSpeed line is designed for?
So we'll start with the fit. I'd say what we consider our JetSpeed kind of a tapered fit. What that means is it'll be a little bit snugger all along the back of hand and the fingers, and it'll have a good wrap around the thumb. Just really gives a natural extension of your hand, just to feel like one with the glove. Really allows for that better flexibility inside of the hand. And when we talk about the style of player, honestly, quick releases, quick on your shot speed, anything like that, really allows that player to get better shot release on that end. And in terms of comparative to players, when we talk about JetSpeed, it's one of our most popular lines inside of the pro leagues, and our FT8 Pro would definitely be a style of glove that would attribute to like a McDavid or any players like that.
Now, the first time I put my hand in it, it was very noticeable how game ready it was. It felt broken in better than some of the gloves I've been wearing for a couple seasons. So how did you achieve that this year in the FT8 Pro?
So what we wanted to do in 25 is focus on the flexibility. So we didn't, when I hear the speech of I just got my gloves and I got to break them in, it just doesn't sit right with us at CCM. So what we wanted to do is how can we design a glove to really allow players to buy it during the day and play with it at night? And it really starts around adding a lot more stretch inside of the gloves to really make sure that every piece inside of the glove really moves independently, where it is the thumb, the fingers, and also that whole back of hand, to really allow for every piece to work together as one to really give you that best grip possible inside the hand. And just picking it up in stores really just gives that fresh feel.
A detail that we mentioned off camera was just the way the knuckles were redesigned in the backhand foam. Could you explain that for the viewer watching and how that works?
Absolutely. So when we look at it, let's say a regular hand, when you'll close your hand, you'll have your middle knuckle that will usually pop a little bit higher than the other ones. And the reason why is we really want to make sure that when your hand is closed inside of that glove, you don't feel pressure all the way in the back of hand. So when we made sure to design these gloves is we wanted to integrate an area where your knuckles could really sit nice and comfortably in the back and not feel any stitching, any chafing on the back of hand, and just give it a nice little zone for those knuckles to brace, because your top hand is always going to be closed, right? So you're always going to have that constant grip on your stick. So we just wanted to re-engineer the blocks in the back to give a little bit more give for that glove. It's those little small details.
Well, those small details is just what makes a glove fit so well.
Absolutely.
So shout out to you guys this year for that. Now, I also want to give you guys a shout out for the way that you implemented aer-tec thermal regulation into the glove. We put it to the test yesterday. We skated for a few hours, and I can tell you firsthand, I did not build up any sweat at all. It was absolutely cool. It felt great. How did you guys do that into the FT8 Pro?
It's funny because when you gave me the gloves, I just was curious. I'm like, did you even play? No, but for real, when we look at our gloves, we want to treat of where we bring our air vents. So in the back of the hand, we'll still have our ventilated back of hand. We'll have a nice ventilation hole all along the thumb area here. And one part that does a lot of the heavy lifting is a ventilated palm. So all along the thumb area, you'll have a nice area to bring that air in. And on top of that, we have our blue suspension mesh inside of the glove. And what that allows it to do is just really bring that air in and bring a gap between the protection and your back of hand comfort, just to allow that airflow to come in and bring that moisture away from the interior gloves, because it is one of the key products that will build up a lot of sweat. And we want to make sure from first period to the third period, they're still feeling fresh.
Now, could you explain to the viewer who's never heard of aer-tec thermal regulation, how the glove and all of the other protective work to regulate their body temperature?
Absolutely.
And how does that benefit them?
So we did a lot of partnerships, where it be with our different university partners or inside of our own performance lab here in Montreal, is we wanted to make sure that we can bring as much airflow inside of the glove. So what aer-tec does is it helps regulate the body temperature. So when you're playing, one of the key areas that builds up a lot of heat is your hands. And even through all the studies that we did is, if you find a way to regulate the body temperature of the hands, it will actually work a lot on the rest of the body. So bringing in that airflow around the arm, along the hand, will really allow for that cool air to come in and really bring that body temperature low, because the studies have shown us that if the body is nice and cool, you'll get that split difference in the decision making.
Right on, because later in the game, you're going to have more endurance and your body's better regulated.
Exactly.
Now,
and just on the performance side, if your glove's dry, you'll avoid that slippage, you'll avoid a whole lot of issues.
Totally. Now, in terms of the protection package, ain't no slouch here either. We have elite level protection going on underneath the hood. So what do we have going throughout the protection?
So our glove is truly designed for a pro level play. When I say pro, I actually do mean that pro level protection that we bring into our retail products. So that all works with those back of hand foams and those plastic inserts that are really engineered and shaped to really allow for that maximum distribution of impact. So as you go all the way from the tip of the fingers, all the way to the cuff, we have those plastic pieces to really absorb that shock and energy and distribute it away from those key areas that a hand really wants to avoid.
And in terms of the internal liner, super soft and comfortable, but with Polygene technology, how does that benefit the player as well?
So one of the things, again, is when you leave the game, I think everybody knows gloves are probably the stinkiest product that any player will own. So having that Polygene inside the liner will be very good at fighting those microbes inside, but also help reduce that kind of odor that come from games, especially with the aer-tec keeping it nice and cool. It's all that kind of same technology really working towards together and really bringing a fresher glove.
Now, game ready fit, it's not just with the flexibility, it's also the internal liner, what we just mentioned, but also the palm. Incredible palm here too. So could you walk us through Sensalast Pro?
Absolutely. So when we look at our Sensalast Pro palm, what we want out of our palm is to have a nice grippy texture on the exterior to really get a nice grip around your stick, but we want it to be nice and soft on the inside to really get that nice comfortable feel inside of the glove. So our Sensalast Pro is really designed for that comfort story, but again, it's a pro level gloves. You want to hear about durability. So when we talk about durability on the gloves, we do all the testing in-house to really make sure that our Sensalast Pro palm really carries that name of a pro palm to really make sure that we're okay for that tough season.
And a little feature, just like the knuckle readjustment you did, a seamless palm to cuff transition too, is just a little feature that elevates comfort and durability too, right?
I'd say it's a kind of a twofold. One, it has a great feature on comfort, but also on the grip aspect, because when you're gripping your stick, a lot of the times a lot of contact will happen at that lower end of your glove. We just want to be sure to have a better connection with the stick to really truly feel like a one piece between those two. And it really also on the supplemental side just looks great also on the back of the hand.
Especially the graphics package absolutely looks amazing. Love it what you did there. Now hopping down into the FT8, we have great value in terms of the ventilation and protection. So could you walk us through the FT8?
Absolutely. So when we look at our FT8, one of the things we would like to call out is, again, the ventilation aspect. So we'll have ventilation all across the back of hand, or especially along the thumb area. And when we work our way inside of the glove, you'll notice that we have our aer-tec suspension system all along the interior, again creating that gap between your protection and of your back of hand to really allow that airflow to come in. And in terms of the comfort package, yes, it's our second price point glove, but that game ready message is truly important inside of that glove. We want to make sure that these gloves are ready to go after the point of purchase and really allow those players to play at night.
So you're getting the exact same game ready fit as the FT8 Pro.
Absolutely.
And we have the FT880 standout feature here. Walk us through what's going on beneath the hood.
So our 880, we used to do that our comfort kind of had a separation between top, second, and third price point. In 25, we really wanted to make sure our third price point is for that competitive player, that player stepping on the ice. They deserve a comfortable glove too. So when we designed our 880, we really wanted to make sure that we were able to bring that same level of comfort from our top end gloves all the way trickled down to that third price point. So the way that the glove opens each finger individually, the flex thumb on the inside really just allows for that player to step on the ice right after buying that glove. And in terms of the palm, we bring our Sensalast palm at the third price point with that nice reinforcement for that critical area that gets a lot of contact with the stick. Just want to make sure that that glove stays nice and fresh.
And for the female athletes out there who just has had a tough time having a glove that fits them, we have an option for them in the FTW right?
Absolutely. So we have our FTW glove. FTW glove is designed for women that have different hand shapes and really has their own special features. So when we look at the women's product, we have a little bit of a longer fingers. We have a more narrow fit for that hand to just fit more comfortably. And overall, we just want to be able to service all those women hockey players that are looking for gear that fits just right.
That's awesome. So Nick, I just want to say thanks once again for walking us through the FT8 Pro glove line and the FTW.
Thank you.
And for you at home, if you're looking to get your hands on one of these JetSpeed models from CCM, you can head over to icewarehouse.com.